When I was younger, you know what really scared me? It wasn't the normal stuff like spiders or falling, though I'm absolutely still terrified of spiders. No, what I was really afraid of was those people who knew exactly what they wanted to do when they grew up. Scary, right? When I was young, I could barely picture what I was doing next week, let alone what I would do with my entire life. But there were those in my class who, from the age of 10, had the email future veterinarian at Hotmail, and who are currently in vet school right now. Now, I mean, there are times when if you asked me what I wanted to be, I might have said lawyer or even computer programmer. But those were mostly based on my love for Legally Blonde at the ripe old age of 12 and learning enough Python to make a generator that would randomly pick a response like a magic 8 ball. But I sadly realized as I grew that it's actually really hard to get into Harvard. And I could only stare at a screen of numbers for exactly 30 minutes with my ADHD before I wanted to scream. The only real consistent thing in my life I had was reading. The weird thing is, when you are reading, there's a significant jump in genres as you get older. As much as even know now that I can open up a middle grade book and enjoy the adventures of some kids with talking animals and magic, or even a YA book with some 16-year-old who just found out they're the chosen one. I always found it strange how many of those books don't really talk about what comes after the adventures end, when the high school protagonist graduates high school. The next thing you know, when you phase out of YA and move into adult literature, all of a sudden the characters seem to be around 28 and stuck in a dead end job, or looking to change their lives and find love. There might be a book here and there that talks about college or even references back to their time in higher education. But as a teen with not much aspiration for the future, I wanted more books that reflected my state. Talk about the uncertainties of what comes after the long journey of public education ends and real life begins, when it starts to feel real. Now, that's not to say there aren't plenty of books that are out there that tackle these topics, because there are a good amount. But I will say there are a few that I think really helped me out for the better when shaping how I went forward. I think you've all heard the book To All the Boys I've Loved before. Well, before it was a Netflix adaptation that, in my opinion, strayed far from the original purpose and source. It was a book to which I didn't know would touch me as much as it did until I was much in Lara Jean's shoes. Spoilers, I'm sorry if y'all haven't read or watched the series. I'm not really going to talk about the first two books because I was more of the last book in the series, Always and Forever Lara Jean. That was the one that really stuck with me. But of course, the following many romantic misadventures happen in the first two books before Lara Jean is finally romantically secure with her loving boyfriend Peter. They're entering their senior year, and Lara Jean is now struggling with a new romantic obstacle, the same one her sister faced in the first book college. Specifically, what do you do when the person you love and you are going to be separated? But also, Lara Jean not only struggles with Peter choosing a college and her wondering if she should follow him, but also what she wants to do, what she should pursue for herself. At the time I was a junior in high school, struggling with the same question. Where do I go? What do I do? What do I want to do? All these questions played in my head, and even though I didn't have any romantic entanglements at the time, the desire to forge my life towards was still absent. I saw the world changing, similar to Lara Jean, with her father getting remarried and her sister coming back from Scotland. But of course, she ended up having a fulfilling end. And then there was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappa, a less well known book that takes the opposite approach to the struggles I was having. Eliza was almost racing for the finish line, wishing to end her time in high school as inconspicuous as possible. With her internet persona as a comic artist with a huge following filling her savings and her world as her oyster, she was ready to get her degree and piece out of her town. But once again, we love a cliche, and of course she meets someone, but this case meeting, Wallace helps her to slow down, enjoy her time remaining, live for the smaller moments, make her question how she's been handling everything all this time. Because like many teen shows you watch, high school isn't always parties and friends and join debate club. Sometimes there are those who accept small moments or try to rush them to get towards the bigger picture. Then that brings me to, well, what happens to other problems that hinder you from moving on? Because in some cases, people have those, where they can't pursue a higher form of education, or they get blindsided from going forward and pursuing anything further after high school due to family reasons, financial reasons, mental reasons. And I saw this so much when I read Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. In it, not only Kate, our main character, Mal, for her degree, she even wants to deny a scholarship she was offered. Financial struggles she has to work towards with her family, some other things don't help. No matter how much she wants to move on, can't. Some friendships fall away, people start to fall away, and the tides of those you spoke with daily turn into yearly or even acknowledgments on Instagram feeds. I absolutely love this book, and I read it because even though my situation couldn't relate to Mal, painting a feeling as though others are moving on without you can still be something that you relate to daily, because you don't want to get pushed and pulled away by those who are currently moving on. No matter what the stage of the journey one is on, I think one thing is completely clear. We need more stories of people not knowing where they're going, and even if they do in some part, there's a falling through and not having to figure out where to go from there. I applaud those who are pursuing their doctorate that they envisioned when they were 10, and even to those who changed their major several times. I hope you find what fits you, because the journey never ends. It only takes a pause. As the genre seem to be, we find ourselves moving forward from one story to another. Thank you.